Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to video number 3. This is actually recap session number 2. However, with the intro, this is number 3. So, today we are going to actually do something that probably you guys have picked up on. And I didn't do this with the last time I did recap sessions, but I decided this time to go ahead and do it. So, if you guys take the class, you probably know that I like to have a lesson night, and then the week after I like to have an application night, which means I like to show everyone how to use what they've learned the week before, how to use what they learned then. So, that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration to show you how to actually create an HTML web page and put into practice what we learned last video. So, if you missed the application night, or if you were there and you were still confused, hopefully this will help. We're actually going to get our hands dirty today. We're actually going to get into some code. We're going to build an HTML website, starting with an HTML file, and we're going to put a little bit of code in, what we know so far, which are headers. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so as you can probably see, I am working on a Mac. I'm running Mac OS El Capitan. It's actually not Mac OS, but I'm running Mac El Capitan, essentially. So, if you're a Windows user, this is really not going to be any different from what you would be doing. Things are just going to look a little differently. If you're a Mac user, you'll be right at home and you can follow me right along. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So you want to be on your desktop, which is by far, I found the easiest way to start this. You could do it this way, or how about let's actually open up the Sublime Text now that I'm thinking about it. That would be a better approach. It might be a little less confusing because now we're going to be seeing the exact same thing. So here's what we're going to do. First off, we're going to open up Sublime, and you should be on this screen. Now you want to click File. You want to click Save, and it's going to ask you to save it somewhere. So, you guys are probably on some kind of screen like this. You want to navigate to your desktop, and we're going to save this as whatever you want to call it. So if you're building a website about Minecraft, you can call it Minecraft. I want to build a website about the PyCrafters class. So I'm going to say PyCrafters, and then I have to put .html, hypertext markup language. Now, we talked about this dot and then whatever in class. That's called an extension. So, extensions essentially tell us what type of file this is going to be. So we know because we put this .html extension, this is going to be a .html or just HTML file. So make sure you put your name and then a .html. This name can be whatever you want. Now we're going to save this to our desktop just because it's easier to find. I'm going to hit save. And it's already there, but that's something else, so I'm going to replace it. Now we have this up here, okay? Here's what we're going to do. We are actually going to make our HTML skeleton. So, let's type in doctype, capital, doctype, HTML, and end it. Very good. Now, we're going to do HTML. And it doesn't like what we have here. Let's remove the space. There it is. Now, we could put our head in, like so, but I'm not going to do that. Because that's just a little more confusing, and we're not going to be using the head for this lesson. Although it is good practice to get into, we're going to just do our body tag, like so. Now, remember, we have our start HTML here, which, by the way, doesn't need to be uppercase. We have to have an end HTML, and you see our code editor actually helps us out. If I simply type this and a backslash, it tries to help us out by saying, okay, here, I will essentially just fill that in for you because I think I know what you're trying to do. Now we can actually tab this, and at this point I'd like to talk about something called nesting. Now, you'll notice that we have our doc type HTML as our big thing at the top, and you'll notice down at the bottom we would expect there to be an end doc type HTML, but we don't have that. But what we have here is our start and our end, and you can see our text editor puts a line in here showing us, oh, here we go, this is completed down here, so this is the end. So that's why we have a text editor. Well, one of the reasons. It highlights all of our code and tells us where the start and the end is, which is extremely helpful. Then it shows us here, okay, we have our body and our end body, and it underlines them and says, here's the start, and we'll show you right where the end is, which is really, really handy. Really great way of coding. So, go ahead and put in exactly what you see here. You can pause the video and do this. Okay, so I'm assuming you put that in. Now, what we are doing here is actually called nesting. Now, it makes more sense if I just explain why it kind of looks like you're nesting stuff inside of something else. So we have our HTML, and if you want to think of that as a nest, this is the egg. It's nice and tucked away inside of that nest of HTML. So here is our outside, and this is the inside, which is nested away inside of this guy. So hopefully nesting makes a bit of sense to you. Anytime we nest, we generally want to tab out. So I've tabbed out now, and this is where I'll start my coding. You'll notice I've tabbed all the way out here. Every time I nest, I just tab once. So if I were back here and I wanted to nest this, tab once. Okay, so if I'm here, I wouldn't write my code here. I would in fact tab over and then write my code. Let's go ahead and actually write some code. So we learned about headers from the last class. Let's make a header that says, let's make an H1 header, which is the main big title header of the page, right? What the whole page is about. There we go. I just hit enter after typing that, by the way. So now we can actually type in the main title. So we're going to say home. Or we could put Pie Crafters. Okay? Now I like that, but I want people to know that this is, in fact, the home page. So let's make an H2 that says home. Now you notice Pie Crafters is the main idea. This whole site is about Pie Crafters. So it's going to be an H1 because it's the most important thing on this page. However, home is also quite important. So we're going to make that just slightly less important than the Pie Crafters title. So hopefully this whole idea of the hierarchy or the formatting or the semantics, hopefully all these ideas make sense because this is slightly less important than this big H1 title. Now I could, as I said, make this H1 smaller than this font size, which has absolutely nothing to do with semantics. Just remember that. Okay, so now we're going to put an H3, and I want it to say, welcome to the page. There we go. So now I'm going to hit Control S or Command S on a Mac, or you could simply go up to File and hit Save. It will do the exact same thing. Now we're going to go to our desktop, and you'll notice, if I can find it, here it is. We have piecrafters.html. Oops, sorry. Alright, so here's piecrafters.html. Now we can double click that and it will open up in our browser, whatever browser we have set as the default. I happen to have Chrome, and it has opened it up in Chrome. So here we go. We have our piecrafters, which is our, and I'll tell you what, I'm going to split screen this so that everybody can see it very well. It's not going to let me. In one quick second. There we are. So now I'm going to decrease the size so that you can see this pretty well. We have our piecrafters over here, which is this, which is our H1. Notice it's rather big as the default size. Then we have our H2, which says home. Then we have welcome, which is our H3. So if I were to say welcome to the site, I were to save it and then go over here and refresh it, you'll notice those changes happen automatically as long as I saved it over here and I refresh the page over here. So just like that, we have actually created a working HTML document, and we've created a website. So if I were to grab this URL, copy this, and paste this in here, you can see I have opened this up. This is actually just referencing a file, by the way, but we are referencing that HTML file, which is essentially how web pages work. So there you go. That's a bit of application. Today, assuming you followed these directions, we have created an HTML file. We've created a skeleton inside of that file. We've added some headers to it to make it look pretty sweet-tastic. And we have tested that out and seen that our code looks pretty darn good. So I'd say that is a great start to your successful website. Okay, I hope that helped a lot. So you actually learned a lot of stuff in that video without even knowing it. You also did quite a lot of stuff. You created your own website, and you were able to successfully, hopefully, add code to that site and have it appear in your browser window, which is an amazing accomplishment. So pat yourself on the back. Nice work. You're making great progress. So up till this point, we have successfully installed our IDE. We have learned about skeletons and how to use them. Okay, we learned about nesting today, which is a very important concept. We learned where to put our code inside the start body and the end body, remember. And we actually implemented all that knowledge and actually created our very own web page and just made it look really cool. Now, you're saying to yourself, okay, it actually doesn't look really cool at this point, but we're going to work on that, and it is going to look really cool by the end of this month. Now, that's assuming you are able to learn all of the elements. If not, like I said, and like I've always been saying, Slack is always there. Join the Slack PyCrafters group and you can ask all the questions you like, okay? If this is on YouTube and you have questions, go ahead and put a comment below, subscribe to the PyCrafters YouTube channel, okay? And I am probably going to be releasing the CSS video within a few days, hopefully after the next video that I do. Okay, so hopefully this answered a lot of questions. Good luck. Go ahead and make your own website if you haven't done so already. If you've done that, after the next PyCrafters class, you can watch the next recap session, and we're going to talk all about a whole bunch of other HTML tags that you can use on your site to make it look really, really cool. Okay, see you then. Good luck.